Hey guys, Prozan here. We're going to look at a Maw Mischief build because, well, that's the only thing I play in Path of Exile. You might actually remember me. I was the first person to ever make a really successful build using Maw of Mischief. Uh, I've really enjoyed this build. We use Barracks Respite to send that Ignite out, kill entire screens in moments. We can focus a lot on defense. This is a mapping build. It's not meant for boss killing. It's just meant for churning through maps really quick. We get enough defense from glancing blows as well as armor stacking that we can move through without taking a lot of damage. There are moments where we have to hit the oh shit buttons, but they're few and far between. And if you're playing smart instead of just closing your eyes and pushing Death Wish, which is how I play, you'll be just fine. You could run this deathless. So to jump into the build, the very core of the build, look at the skills. We're going to be using Death Wish as our primary source of damage. We scale this by a couple of things. Minion life is a big scaler, and then dot multi and burning damage. We're also using a weapon that we're using the Scourge, so minion damage counts as a global scaler for us. Lots of little knobs to tweak to increase damage there. We support Death Wish with Stone Golems. We are an Elementalist, so these are up every 4 seconds without us having to do anything. Our Stone Golem life is roughly 90,000. I'm going to show you a trick real fast because Path of Building is weird about this. So we take this total life, we go to configuration, and we set up corpse life as 90,000. That gives us accurate tree scaling on our Death Wish minion explosion. So you can see our hits aren't terribly high, 335k, but our DPS with Ignite is pretty damn good. We'll support this with auras. We'll talk about that more later, and a cast when damage taken. The main absolute key items here, we have to have Maw of Mischief, we have to have Barracks Respite, and we have to have the Scourge. Once you're 2 days into the league, you can pick all these up for a couple of chaos. The Vix Lunaris is also really cheap and scales the ever-loving crap out of that minion life because you're pumping a bunch of minion levels into it, because this also gives levels to the Empower that we throw in that link. We'll talk about that in a bit. The rest of this is get our stats. One special note, we don't have to have any link armor. My armor is a 4 link, and it could be a 3 link because one of my links isn't being used. So we're very variable. We save a lot of money on that piece. Amulet, we like to allocate dirty techniques, and we just stack stuff here. Excuse me 1 second. So items, focusing on that, getting all our stats, defensive stats on the rest of our items. And then where we can, we like to pick up a little fire damage, a little multi. Skills we talked about for a second. Death Wish. Where is it? Well, we'll just look at it anyway. Why are we not showing it as a hill? They've recently changed this on me. I apologize. So, we're supporting Death Wish with deadly elements, unbound elements, burning damage, and cruelty. Obviously, you want to get these to 21 or get the awakened versions. This is my cheap, threw it together for like 2 divine build. Our Stone Golem's going to be in our shield, so we're going to have minion life and power and Stone Golem. And we'll look at the rest of this stuff in-game because it's easier to view there. Tree is going to focus heavily on getting over to our +1 Golem here. We're going Elementalist. We're going Liege of Primordial, Shaper of Flames, and Heart of Destruction. If you don't want to mess with Heart of Destruction, you can also go Elemancer. Elemancer is actually really good for this build because we get that extra golem, which is extra explodey. You can see just one tick in this puts up our damage by quite a lot. The rest of this, we pick up Breath of Flames, we get life where possible. I like to run a phasing Hypnotic Jewel just so I get phasing pretty much always when I'm mapping. We go over here, we get damage over time, the plus 10 damage multi when we've killed stuff. Get Elemental Overload, not Overlord. We're going for fire damage, and we take the fire exposure. This is to help us kill map bosses. Get more auras, get minion stuff. Remember, so we're scaling off minion damage, so this is a really good one, 20% damage. Big elemental damage increase there. Lots of armor, make us tanky. We've gone down to glancing blows, so we pick up some shield stuff. And then we just fill out as we can, picking up damage, minion life. I will share this path of building link also below the video. It's super configurable in the sense that you want to have 1.5 million plus DPS, and you want to go defense after that. Eldritch Battery is absolutely required. We have to have Eldritch Battery so that we can have all of our auras. So looking at it in game, switch your window here. There we go. So looking at it in game, you can see our links: Summonstone Golem, Minion Life, and Power. Our Maw of Mischief, which is our Death Wish skill, is being supported by Unbound, Burning, Cruelty, and Deadly. And then the rest of our stuff is support. So Aura, Enduring Cry with Second Wind. This lets us double tap on a healing ability. Super useful. Saves us when we only take a little bit of chip damage. Also builds endurance charges. Convocation, and then an aura. A convocation we'll talk about as we map a moment, but it's our reset the minions skill. Arcane Surge support on Flame Dash. This is just so we almost always have Arcane Surge up. Flammability, Hex Touch, and Wave of Conviction. This way we apply exposure and flammability when we right click. This is for killing yellows and bosses. Dread Banner aura we'll talk about in a second. Cast when damage setup. This is an aura in it. You can ignore it. Cast when damage. Immortal Call. Cold Snap. Immortal Call is pretty obvious. That's our defensive layer. Cold Snap generates frenzy charges while we're running around. That last line's the super important part of Cold Snap. So 25% to gain a chance. Frenzy charge means we'll almost always have full frenzy charges as we're running around like a chicken with our head off. We talked about this a little bit. Dirty Techniques is a ridiculously good scaler. So put that on your necklace. Just buy a necklace with it on it and then fill out the rest of your stats. Because we use 3 really required uniques, 4 if you count this one. We get the opportunity to put a lot of our resists on other pieces. All right, actual gameplay. Oh, flasks. Defensive, offensive, speedy, zoom zoom. Look at our auras, Dread Banner, Precision. Precision's just filling out the rest of our mana. Gain a little bit of crit strike to set off Elemental Overlord. Determination for the obvious reasons. Malevolence, same thing. And Tempest Shield to cap out spell block. And grab a map out of here real quick. We'll run a 14 just so I can brain dead it while I'm talking. I hate lava chambers. Let's not do that. We'll run a 15 so I can brain dead it. Yeah, sure. Underground River. We're just going to run this as whatever. Canal Leech is fine. Yeah, nothing bad in there. Map mods we have to avoid. Avoids elemental elements. Cannot run that one. This build relies on ignite. We do want to avoid reflect. We can do them. It makes us be really, really careful. And then obviously the shit that blows you up. You can run most of them or some combinations of them, but you don't want stuff that blows you up or else your mapping experience is worse. I'm still running Eater of Worlds. Whatever. I'm not going to go through those. So once we're in a map, the general gameplay is we're going to have 3 golems at any given time. 4 if you can afford the stones, the anima stones. They would be a good addition to this build. We're going to suck on our pots. We're going to go out. And then when stuff gets to us, we're just going to blow up a minion and let it die. I wasn't ready, so that's cheating. We got an Ironheart guy right on top of us. We've got our minions up. Let's get this guy dead so we can actually show what the build looks like. We're going to go out. The general gameplay is get stuff around us. I'm going slower than I usually do. Blow up a minion. Our ignite proliferates out. Blow up a minion. Throw out a wave of conviction if we want to. Pick up our loot. Beasts are a little strong. You can see I'm not really having any trouble with them. I just have to move away from them and let them die. Gameplay, again, throw out minions, blow them up, watch everything explode. Drink pots occasionally. You can play this extremely safe, never being next to stuff. I play it bad because I'm bad. We use Convocate to bring our minions up. And we can pretty much just ignore stuff behind us. You can see my wave of conviction will generally kill white mobs and such. The reason I love this build, I'm constantly moving, I'm constantly doing stuff. Yeah, sure. And if you're playing smart, it's really hard to die. I'm not a smart player. You're better than me. I am a build maker, not a build succeeder. And I'm running around with vulnerability on too, which probably isn't the smartest thing in the world. You want to try to group up enemies as much as you can before you explode. Boy, we're making that final boss tough. Oh well. And you can see I'm just exploding my minions to keep everything moving. This is one of those that actually hurts. That's just because I haven't invested heavily into this build yet, where my defense is up higher. I really need more spell suppression. But the general concept is good enough for a video. You don't want to see people who are spending 100 divines and it's unattainable, I hope. Lots of stuff spawning in. It's actually a really important minion pool to show off the build. That's fun though, watching all that stuff blow up. You can see my general combo is convocate all my golems to me and then blow them up. Sorry, I gotta spend my monies. Hit that wave of conviction on stuff that takes a little more to die. On to the next stuff. And position my golems very well that time. Click! And I'm bad, so I'm going to set up a town portal and get the die here. Don't face tank the bad guys. I have conviction, run around in circles, and loot. We'll do one more map just so you could see it in action. I'm going to do a simpler map this time. For those of you who have actually stuck around, I figure most people have left. But I'm just going to run a blue tier 15. Just to show you what it's like when you just speed run stuff. Line on hit, suppress spell damage. We don't want suppressed, that's bad for us. Burning ground is just fine. Elemental resist also just fine. Who cares? We're doing enough damage that they're gonna all die anyway. It's the not dying on our own part. You avoid those mods and you can map with the hardest enemies ever. See, you just gotta be careful what you step on. And watch the entire rooms explode. This is where the build's fun. Sure. Should have read that. It was like elements of some sort that I care about, actually. Almost missed altar. Sure. Oh, and let those rares get hard. I'm running around in delirium right now. Keep that in mind. Group everything up, pop a golem, watch it all fall down. Garbage sword. I don't feel like clearing the rest of this.